Looks like federal court's not only going to take LIEnette's half of turd purgatory, but also Crook's half. You know what that makes me think of, George?
What does that make you think, Jeremy?
The repeating cactus right here.
Oh.
Gang, gang. We're giving away money, but federal court, bankruptcy court specifically, they're taking money away from LIEnette and Crook. Now, we have all kinds of fun things in our upcoming December 14th auction online.
This Sunday, the 14th.
We're going to give away $2,500, but it looks like federal court's taking away 1.66 acres from LIEnette and
That's what
Jonathan Crook.
That is what it sounded like today.
So we did have a hearing.
Yes, it was considered a non-evidentiary hearing with the bankruptcy judge for Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
No trustee. It was the judge. So this is, again, like George said, non-evidentiary.
It's a hard word. Words are hard sometimes.
Why can I say Massachusetts, but you can't? And
No,
all of a sudden I can't say
can't.
evidentiary.
There are certain words that I cannot pronounce. Words are weird. Words are hard. But it is what it is.
Okay. So the judge, the federal judge who's presiding over everything, she goes ahead and says, listen, we're going to have a hearing because we have already opposed their homestead, stating that you can't take my property in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And we said, first of all, it's not homesteaded. So this is more of a status hearing in all reality. Correct. And the judge wanted to know where things are going and if any agreements could be made. Correct. So you kind of want to get us up to speed on what happened, where we were at, and all of that.
Yeah, it was scheduled today for 11:10 in the morning.
Yes.
And there were a couple faces on the screen, on the Zoom. There was the bankruptcy judge, which was our first time seeing her.
Yep.
There was Mr. Saran Wrap.
And it did look like he was sitting on a toilet again.
This time?
He did.
I guess I missed that.
I was like, is he going poo-poo? Is this a poo-poo platter? Yeah, that was weird.
People are always asking him, did I pronounce your last name correctly?
And we're like, no, it's Saran Wrap.
And then there was a gentleman on there by the name of Mr. Ruby.
Okay, so Mr. Ruby is
co-counsel.
He's an associate of the specialty bankruptcy lawyer that we hired on our behalf as creditors. And so our lawyer couldn't be there today, so his associate, who practices in none other than Cleveland, Ohio, was there representing us today.
And then he probably is able to practice in Florida as well, and I'm sure many other states when it comes to bankruptcy. Yep. So they start talking about the structure on the property.
Oh.
What structure do you think that they're referring to?
The camper?
No, not the camper.
The small shed?
No, not the tiny shed.
The big shed?
The shell. It's just an outer shell of this barnuminium dream home that LIEnette wants everyone to fund for her, and donations be just thrown at her 501c3. But lo and behold, her 501c3 did lapse. I don't even think that she has the appropriate credentials in place to even accept donations. And so the shell, that brown shell that's on her property.
You mean it's a shell thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
It's definitely impractical. There's no way they can live in it. I mean, LIEnette herself even said it. She wrote this long rant.
Whoa,
George.
Long
rant.
George, I got to do some foreshadowing here because
on the tubes.
Saran Wrap literally told the judge today, and lied. Saran Wrap told the federal judge today in bankruptcy court that LIEnette and Crook have been living in it and out of it, in it
off
and
and
out
on.
of it, off and on, off and on, off and on. There is no permanent occupancy or temporary occupancy or any type of permit that would allow them to live off and on at all.
Correct. So are you saying that Saran Wrap lied for his client, or did his client lie and he's just telling the judge what his client told him?
I have a genius idea, George.
Oh, okay. I'm ready to hear it.
Okay. Let's ask Crook to file a motion in the bankruptcy court and ask that Saran Wrap is sanctioned for perjury.
Yes, let's do it. We could even copy and paste.
Okay.
Copy and paste what Crook wrote to the federal judge.
You mean what DEUCE wrote to
yes,
the federal judge?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
What DEUCE wrote as a ghostwriter, and then Crookie Boy, even though it says no motions because there's a stay, submits it anyways.
We should probably get people up to speed that aren't aware of this yet. Crook files a motion in the federal court system.
Correct.
You know, we've got Fed 1 and Fed 2.
Yes.
Now we have this other federal suit, the bankruptcy. And he files a motion.
As a puppet. He files it as a puppet under the control of DEUCE.
to get perjury charges against our legal counsel. It's immediately stricken by Belitho, the judge. Immediately stricken, never even read, and is tossed out immediately. Which the funniest part is, Crook is in Bonehead's chat today. He doesn't even know it's been stricken. He thinks it's the greatest thing in the world because DEUCE told me to do this. And he's in the chat going, "Did you read my motion? Did you read my motion? Did you read my motion?" Well, the planet has seen denied.
It was denied, and it pretty much said no filings are permitted. The case is on a stay.
I'm shocked.
His paramour is the reason why the case is on a stay, because she filed for bankruptcy.
He also filed the motion in the wrong lawsuit. I can't believe it. I literally can't believe it.
Lisa made a mistake too and filed a motion to something completely wrong.
This is seeming like an anti what the Hales ecosystem thing going on right now. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so
her bankruptcy attorney, Saran Wrap, goes on to say that he...
Well, we got to back up a little bit because our attorney is there first.
Correct.
Okay. Our attorney, the judge says, all right, let's see if we can... Basically, the judge wants to say, can we sort this out with the land in the bankruptcy without going to a full evidentiary hearing and trial? And the judge literally says, the land is not even worth what it would cost to go to trial, which LIEnette and Crook would have to pay, or LIEnette would have to pay to go to trial in the federal court as well. She would have to come up with the money to pay her lawyer, and then we would have to pay our lawyer. And frankly, the judge doesn't know that it is more than worth it for us to get these freaks out of our lives, these stalkers, these guilty stalkers. They have been found guilty in the court of law. Contempt. We have thousands of contempts that we're going back to court with. Yeah. And so, actually, it is worth it.
It'll be a blessing for her because she has told residents of Otter Creek that it's way too cold for her and that she wishes she never moved and she wishes she can go back to where she came from. So,
well,
it's a win-win, wouldn't it be?
You would think so. But the judge at the end, we're going to fill in the middle, but the judge at the end says, why would we even take this to trial? She already listed, meaning LIEnette, she already listed the property's value. Therefore, we can seize it. She listed the camper's value. Therefore, we will seize it and we'll just sell it. And all the creditors will be paid, which the money would then come to us. And so the judge literally is going, it doesn't make any sense to even take this to court. There's no fight because they listed it as assets and they put value on it.
The value amount.
So here's the funniest part, okay? LIEnette says the property currently is worth $50,000. They paid what? They overpaid big time for it. 22.
Close to 22.
All right, they thought they were going to get rich off of us being there.
Well, LIEnette thought her property was going to triple based on what Jeremy said in a video of what he was going to do with his property, which was a number of things. You were going to put an animal sanctuary. You were going to put a B&B because there were septic tanks and electric boxes.
We also kept saying that we were bringing in elephants because we got so tired of everybody in Otter Creek. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why'd you buy it? What are you doing? And so we just started putting out misinformation just we think it's funny when they talk.
It's sarcasm.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
what it
of
is. It's
sarcasm
humor.
on the channel.
There's quite a bit. Do you think maybe we could get sarcasm on the channel? Jay may not be happy with us if that happens.
No, he would not be happy.
So the judge goes, we really don't even have to work this thing out because they already listed the property. Now, LIEnette and Crook put a deflated value, what they would consider a deflated value. Frankly, I don't even think I think they still priced it too high. They said the property is worth $50,000. And therefore, LIEnette's half is only worth $25,000. And Crook's half is only worth $25,000. And the judge is going, this isn't even worth going to court over because there's not enough money here. We're just going to seize it, sell it, and go our merry ways. And the funny thing is they should have listed it at $100,000 because then LIEnette's half would be $50,000 when the court seizes it and sells it, and Crook's half would be $50,000. They could have said $250,000, $125,000, $120,000, but they wanted to deceive and keep it as low as possible. And the judge ultimately said, it doesn't matter. They already listed it as an asset. It's on forms. We don't even have to fight about it. But there seems to be a little bit of a misunderstanding. You want to dig into that?
No, why don't you?
Oh, well, this is where Saran Wrap. Okay, so our lawyer, Ruby, comes on and goes, listen, there is no homestead because LIEnette and Crook illegally, let's be very clear, illegally have claimed homestead on this piece of property. You cannot claim homestead unless there is a home with a finalized occupancy permit. They do not have. The only way to homestead this is if they have a completed home. Even to get a completed home at this point, they'd have to put easily $200,000 to just clean the property up and get that little shell of a shed up to par for hurricane building standards in Florida.
Yes, that's correct. And the laws have changed in Levy County, and so they pretty much have to hire and restart all over again, new blueprints. There's just no way that she even has the funds to be able to finish. And how do we know that? Because LIEnette herself has posted all over online. She posts her dirty laundry online, and a lot of information is put out there. Now, whether you want to take her post and long rants with a grain of salt, but there is a little bit of truth in there. Just a little.
So our lawyer tells the judge, we don't know why they're opposing this lack of homestead. It's not exempt. And the judge goes, it doesn't even matter if it would fall under homestead exemption. They listed it as an asset. We will seize it. And it's not worth enough to even go to court over it. And so Saran Wrap comes on the scene. Our lawyer is very short and just goes, there's no homestead. They filed for it, yes, but there is no homestead. There's no building permit. There's no occupancy. And building permit doesn't even mean anything. We all know there's no building permit.
Correct. We do know that it expired March of this year. It expired March of this year, and if you remember, LIEnette posted several rants blaming Fleesa for her permit being expired, which I'm not defending or sticking up for Fleesa, but that is not her responsibility. That should be the responsibility of the landowners or the property owners that are in the process of building. I do remember Mr. Ruby saying that there is no practical use for that shell. No practical use for that shell, meaning they cannot live in it. It's basically set up as storage space right now. And how do we know that?
They shouldn't have that in there either. They have no permit to be allowed to do those things.
Correct. In addition to how we know that it's just used for storage, because LIEnette's bankruptcy attorney posted pictures and submitted it to the courts. Everyone could see it.
It's all part of evidence.
There's no insulation. There's no drywall. There's no framing. First, the framing needs to be done. No insulation, no drywall, nothing. It's literally a metal shell, a heat box in the summer.
It's a shell thing?
Yes, it's definitely a shell thing.
Okay, so even if they were to get a framing permit, it still doesn't matter. The whole project needs to be completed, and even if they did that, it still doesn't matter. It's not protected in this bankruptcy court case.
Right, and if she filed for bankruptcy, then where is she going to get the funds to finish this home? if they're in the process of building a home.
And that was one of the things the judge said too.
Make sense.
The judge was like, "So they want to keep the property. What's she planning on doing? She put this down as an asset. So she's gonna sell half the property and then buy it back. She's in bankruptcy court. What's she gonna buy it back with? Like the insanity." So Saran Wrap comes up on the scene in the toilet. It literally looks like he's got a toilet seat behind him again.
I must have missed that.
So
I was busy taking notes.
So our lawyer says, nope, it is not homesteaded. Judge goes, doesn't matter. But Mr. Saran Wrap, what do you have to say? And most of the talking was done by Saran Wrap. So why don't you fill us in from there?
Yeah. So he was talking extremely fast, and it was hard for me to keep up with taking notes. But he talks about how the property is 50% with her ex-husband, paramour. I think he used the word paramour.
He used ex-husband because I wrote it down. I wrote it down right there, ex-husband. Right there. I was writing it down verbatim.
And then states that Crook has I think he said undivided interest in the property. Yeah. And then goes on to talk about how they're still in the deconstruction phase.
Deconstruction, not construction. Phase. And let's be extremely clear, okay? They are illegally living in a camper on that property. They are only allowed to live on a camper short term while they are building, okay? They are illegally living in a shed on that property. That's illegal all over the state of Florida, the state law. So you can have a camper, because we've heard this enough from individuals like, well, Jeremy, you and George lived in your camper when you came to Otter Creek. Yeah, we did. Legally.
Yes.
There is a legal process, and you can do it legally. If we have a camper on our property, it's legal. Theirs is 100% illegal. There's a process, and there is a right way to do it in the law. The law will even tell you it has to be done here, it has to be set here, this, that, the other thing. We did it legally.
That is correct. That is correct. So back to the judge, it was saying that this might be too expensive to go to trial, and then she wanted the parties to agree to the value of the property / parcel. I mean, basically it's just a vacant piece of land. There is no home. Even with the tiny shed, it's not a tiny home, it's a shed. Tiny homes have bathrooms, tiny homes have kitchenettes, not even a full kitchen, but a kitchenette. Yeah. Hers doesn't have that.
Nothing.
She originally put it there so that it could be like a play area, like a clubhouse for the child. It is not a tiny home. And so when she posts that it's a tiny home, it's not.
It's a flea circus. It's a flea circus and lice. It's a lice breeding ground.
Yes.
By LIEnette's own words that she has posted publicly. You would think that she at some point would just shut up.
They just can't help themselves.
Nope.
Neither her or Kurt can help themselves. And so she wanted the parties to be able to explore the facts prior to the actual evidentiary hearing, and to be able to resolve prior to today's meeting was considered a non-evidentiary hearing. So between now and January 6th, I believe it was.
Yeah, we have another hearing continued to January 6th to see if the parties, the creditors and the debtor, can come up and agree on what the actual value is and what to do with this piece of property. Now, it's very clear where we stand on this. We never wanted this piece of property. No desire whatsoever.
We didn't even know it was up for sale. There was never a for sale sign up front.
And well, even we had YouTube friends come in and they're like, "Is there any property?" And we were like, "Well, maybe."
They're the ones who told us about.
Oh yeah, that's right. They told us, and then LIEnette came in and way overpaid. So,
but prior history, if you look at the history when it went into tax sale, it sold for $3,000, $4,000, and here she's paying well over $21,000 for what? To live across the street from a famous YouTuber? because she thought her property value was going to triple based on you putting an animal sanctuary on the 70 acres and putting the B&Bs where Tubetown is, because that's where the septic tanks are. That's where the electric boxes are.
I think she was just wanting to be next to you, George. You, George. So, by the way, Saran wrap. A couple things I want to add. Before the judge started to say all this, Saran wrap starts saying, like George had already said, this is indivisible property, non-divisible property. Then there's this awkward silence, and he's looking like this, like he's leaning up on the toilet.
I must have missed that
part.
The
judge, look, I got it right here. Long, awkward pause by Saran wrap. Okay, it was very awkward, and the judge is saying nothing. He's just waiting for the judge. So he starts just gibberish again. He is stuttering. Like, I've never heard a stutter this bad. He's stuttering, gibbering, and he doesn't know what to say because the judge didn't fill in the awkward pause. He's like, what do I say? What do I do? Let me just come up with more stuff. You know, when you're sitting on a toilet, the poo-poo is supposed to go down through that way, not come out.
So he had diarrhea of the mouth and just word salad was just flowing?
Big time, yep.
Okay. So I do remember the judge saying that she was going to preserve 2 to 3 hours for the evidentiary hearing if it gets to that point. Again, if it gets to the point, they wanted to explore and make sure that there was an agreement between the parties. Well, and I do remember Randy saying that, yes, I hope that we do come to an agreement, but I don't believe that there will be one.
Well, our lawyer, so Ruby tells the judge, after the judge says, well, it sounds like there's going to be a pretty good dispute here. And Ruby says, there is no permit. And yeah, we're going to trial. And then he goes, it's only worth $8,000 to the courts. After the courts take their portion for all the creditors, at the end of it, the entirety of the property, that is with LIEnette's 50% and Crook's 50%, the value based on their value after the government takes their $8,000. And that's why the judge goes,
it wouldn't be worth it.
This isn't even worth going to trial. Let's just seize it and sell it. But there are some other things that LIEnette lied to Saran wrap, said they were living in it and the whole deal. George, do you have some things to share with us in regards to the actual, these are things that LIEnette has stated publicly.
Correct. So for her lawyer to come on and say that his client lives in that outer shell, off and on, she debunks that in her long post. Look at her long rant. I printed it. Or do you want me to read this whole thing or get to the point where she explains how she can't read it?
Get to the point. I can't handle LIEnette's bad.
Okay. So we're going to get straight to the point of how she cannot live in this property. Okay.
Wait, what date did she post this?
This was September 18th, 2025. And this was in one of her posts on her YouTube account. And those of you who know, I'm not going to promote her YouTube or any of her social medias. Says, did I hope we could cook in the building? Yes, I did. But we found out very quickly the building is too hot to be in and to cook in. If we would put our food in there, it would spoil. The building is also not insulated. Yeah, no kidding, because your attorney submitted the pictures of the inside of the home and there's no insulation. It's nothing but metal.
It's a shed. It is a shed thing.
It's if you know what a barnuminium is, it's just metal. It's like a metal sheet. It's one big metal sheet. And it says, and then she goes on to say, there are black widow spiders, recluses, brown. Do you guys know what recluses are? Brown recluses.
That's what happened to Tina Haley's brother. He got bit, didn't take care of it. He passed away. Then
according to the family,
told his niece that she took all of his ashes and put it out in Otter Creek back on our property. Now I'm pointing back here. Our 70 acres is right back there through the woods. Mm-hmm. She lied. Tina Haley lied
to her own niece.
To her own niece
about her brother's
She told
ashes.
us, we have it on camera. She threw her brother's ashes away in the garbage.
How gross. So gross. After I heard Tina say that, I just lost all interest in her, and I looked at Jeremy. I was like, she is just not a good person. I don't want to be associated with her. That's how I knew I didn't want anything to do with them. So then she goes, and other spiders. So they definitely can't live. That's one of the many reasons why they can't live in this shell, because there's no practical use. Here, she already explains how there's no practical use for cooking in there because it's way too hot in the summer and it's way too cold in the winter. It gets pretty cold here. Like, you and I are both wearing layers right now because it's pretty chilly.
It's in the 60s, but there ain't no ice. And
there's no snow.
If LIEnette and Crook were in the building with no occupancy permit, it's literally the government telling you, yes, you can live in here. They're not allowed to be doing these things in there.
Mm-hmm. And then she goes on to say there are everything you can think of in that building because it is not sealed. So that means snakes are in there. The snakes. Remember when she yelled at the child? She's like, snakes, mommy! Snakes! Because that outer shell is not sealed.
We have
so again, how are they living off and on again in that structure? It's just not practical.
We have found one Eastern Diamondback on our property. Remember that when we first bought the property?
Yeah, it was early in the morning.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You're so lucky you didn't get struck.
Still alive. Just imagine if our Eastern Diamondback crossed the road over there and is now in the It's a Shed thing.
Mm-hmm. Because that shell is not sealed, she goes on to say, it is open. The edges, the bottom, the top, it is not wrapped and insulated, yet on the inside, it cannot be used as a kitchen as I had hoped. Again, confirming that is not practical. This shell is not practical for them to live in, to cook in, nothing. Not even to install the 2 toilets that Felicia gave them. They wouldn't even they still have to continue using the 5-gallon bucket or the porta potty.
Not even to install the 2 water heaters that Felicia gave them? Nope. Oh, you mean the one that she bought and was the wrong one? With donated money. Donated money. And then instead of returning it, she was like, let's just get another one.
Yeah,
with
pure laziness.
Donated money. Complete and total laziness. Complete and total disrespect for the individuals who gave the money.
Yeah.
It's sick.
She doesn't care. It's not her money. So that...
Well, actually, right now it is. She's not releasing it. And from what I heard, word is, she's getting busted for it. All right, keep going.
I'm sure a lot of people would get joy out of seeing that. And again, as much as I'm not sticking up for her, not defending her, it is not Felicia's problem that LIEnette's permit expired in March of this year.
Felicia's problem is she is not giving donated funds to LIEnette Preston, the person that the funds were given in the name of and raised. And that is one huge felony. And I will state this as well. We will be there with cameras rolling when she gets booked.
Do you think LIEnette added the 2 water heaters to her bankruptcy as assets? You know, there's a lot of things that she didn't include.
We already know she didn't. We already covered that already. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the island was not a wonderful buy. It saved us $1,000 at least. The next issue, she did include that island, that $300 island that she got from the Trading Post, but she didn't include the toilets or the water heater. Interesting, isn't it? Says, the next issue, we did not ask for the toilet. We did not ask for the toilet. She's under the assumption that we can put a toilet in the house without running water and without being hooked to the septic.
She's talking about Felicia. LIEnette is talking about Felicia. Mm-hmm. They cannot put a toilet in that house. They do not have the appropriate permits.
Plumbing.
It's not finished plumbed.
Yes.
It's only rough plumbed underground.
Yes. So just a reminder, this long rant all started because she wrote this long rant about Lisa and going off how Lisa got a hold of the Levy County Sheriff.
Felicia, I think you meant.
The Levy County Sheriff.
Oh, there's Felicia over there. Can I have that for a second?
Yeah. This is the golf cart loofah whip.
Yeah! Get to the whip, gang. Oh, you know what? These tires need slashed. Yeah, I know somebody.
Look at the cricket. Look at the cricket.
I know somebody who will give $700 to slash them tires.
It pooped out a pea pod.
Pea pod.
Oh my gosh, it's snacking on some teeth.
You can win one of these in our auction December 14th.
Well, not win, but
Chicken.
you can purchase one in our Buy It Now.
And then you have the opportunity to win $500.
Yes. So then she goes on to say, you cannot put a toilet in that house until the framing is done.
Correct.
Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? It's not that she didn't want to use the toilet and would prefer the bucket, but she just can't. Again, it's not practical.
Nope.
The insulation is done. But wait a minute, she just said it's not insulated.
That's true. That is a pretty big contradiction.
The insulation is done, it says. The plumbing.
I think she means till the framing is done, then the insulation is. She just doesn't use.
It's hard for her to articulate. Like, although sometimes I have a hard time articulating what I need to say. LIEnette's worse. It says the plumbing isn't done, and the house is connected to the city water. The house has to be connected to the septic. We are not there yet.
The house is connected to the septic. The septic's connected to the creek. The creek's connected to the Gulf. And that's why our animals stink.
So I do want to bring up something at the beginning of her long rant. She talks about how Felisa got a hold of the Levy County Sheriff and lied to them and told them that we didn't do our part, that we allowed our permit to lapse, even though the only way to get another 180 days on our permit would have been to get the framing done. And Felisa couldn't provide the framer, even though she said over and over again, I got this. Don't worry, I got this. No framer showed up at our house to do the framing. Had the framer showed up, the permit would have been extended another 180 days with no need to buy a new permit once that happened and it expired. So here...
Time's up. They can't... They are in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There's nothing they can do now.
Correct.
Federal government is seizing the property.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If somebody came forward right now and went, here's $250,000, finish the house. It does not matter. That money will be seized. LIEnette cannot get out of Chapter 7. This was DEUCE's greatest idea ever.
Mm-hmm. Confirmed.
For us!
Yeah.
For us!
So the county confirmed that her permit was issued June 16th of 2022. Mm-hmm. Here we are in 2025. It expired March 20th of 2025. Mm-hmm. There's no way she can get a permit, even if she paid. She has to jump through all the hoops again because the laws have changed as of January of this year. She has to get all new blueprints. She has to hire an architect to do the blueprints. They pretty much can't use the original plan that she had for that that shell that's not practical to live in.
So Saran Wrap is arguing, saying, no, federal government can't seize this property. Randy and Ruby, which Randy Shockett is there as well. And by the way, Randy Shockett, as our representing lawyer, has done more to protect us from the anti-What the Hales ecosystem members, Crook, LIEnette, than anybody else on this planet. And yes, I'm referring to Judge Grudge. So we appreciate what he's done in keeping our protection, keeping us safe. And then Eli has done an incredible job up north in Ohio to help keep us safe as well.
Yeah, our attorneys have, they're invested in making sure that we get the justice. Now, the attorneys that have represented LIEnette have all booked it and ran us far away from her and want nothing to do with her. So far, Saran Wrap is still around.
As of right now, we'll see how long. And you know, the other thing, the anti-What the Hales ecosystem, you know, I think if we were just normally coming off of the street with Eli up north or with Randy down south, if we were just random people and say, hey, we have these issues, you know, can we go to court? And they'd be like, yeah, we can go to court. But that's not what this has been. Mm-hmm. This has been constant attacks on them, harassment of our legal team. Mm-hmm. And what they have done is lit a fire under both law firms.
Yes, it's motivated them.
Motivated them to the nth degree.
Yes, where they are willing to just ride the wave with us and to make sure that we are protected.
To the end.
Yeah.
They are so motivated. They want to see all these freaks and fools in jail.
I mean, they definitely want to see justice. And unfortunately, the wheel of justice moves extremely slow. Extremely slow.
That reminds me of Slofer. Yeah, that's who that reminds me of, who likes to get online through the influence of his probably a father. It's hard to tell with that huge gap. And then a flea, repeating the words that he's heard from them and the insinuations from them. And now he will be tried as an adult because that's exactly what he is. By the way, George, if you're 19 and you break you break the law, you commit a crime, do you get to go, I'm 19, I'm not guilty?
No, you don't get to claim ADA protected or autism or anything like that.
Oh.
Now, I do want to point out, when Tug is covering our story, or even when Megan is covering the story, as soon as she hears a child, she announces it. Wait, I got a child raid.
Turn everything off.
Don't talk about
Don't talk about these things. It's not appropriate.
Correct. And that's the proper channel to go when a child is trying to get your attention. You don't talk about adult things in front of them. Children, minors shouldn't be involved in adult business.
Now,
they're doing a great job protecting their children so that they don't hear the things that they shouldn't be hearing that adults are discussing. Now, Fleesa and Bootlicker on the other hand have injected this guy into their conversation, have allowed him to be a part of their live stream, and now look at where he's in.
And he's not a child.
He's not a child. He's an adult. He's an adult
legal
now.
adult. He's over the age of 18.
But they're trying to justify that he's autistic and that his mentality isn't at 19. Well, then if you knew that, why did they allow him to be a part of the live stream discussing things that only adults should be discussing?
And why have they constantly insinuated that I'm trying to take pictures of a child? I'm trying to get video of it. They're saying all these things without trying to say the word. It's all there. They're being sued for it.
Yeah, he obviously picked up that word from either his grandmother or whoever she is to him, or from Fleesa or whoever it is that she's talking to or around. He picked it up from one of them.
So Randy tells the federal judge, this will not just be resolved. He says, my client will come in and will purchase the property, and the money he purchases the property will go right back to my client, and these people will be removed from the property. And that's after the judge says, listen, the property's not even, at the end of this, the full value of the property, we're not talking LIEnette's half, the full value after the government comes in, the federal government seizes and sells it, you're looking at $8,000. So Randy goes, Jeremy, will you write a check to Randy for to Crook for $8,000? And I said, yeah, I'll write the check for $8,000. I'll evict him from the property, and then we'll sue him for the $8,000 back in court, which is, he's being sued in how many lawsuits right now? We'll get it all back. It doesn't really matter. And right now you could be thinking, Jeremy, don't say anything. Don't say anything. What if David Rickers comes up and gives him $8,000? What if Fleesa actually releases $8,000 again to give to Crook?
Well, you got to ask yourself, are these people creditors?
Doesn't matter. Only we will have that opportunity as the creditors. Doesn't matter.
So on LIEnette's YouTube account, someone in the comment section asked her, is child protection okay with the way you and the child are living? Meaning, are they okay with the way you're living in the shed? This was back in September 20th of 2025, before they got this other camper. And LIEnette responds back with, absolutely. Our shed is clean. Now remember, shed, it's like a garden shed. Our shed is clean, and it has water, air, heat, fridge, microwave, toaster, air fryer. It is fine that way. But for ex-husband and wives to live in same small spot and no place for just her and I, it's hard, meaning the child and her. It's small. I can have nurse services, but but not in here. It's too small. I can have a babysitter, but not here. It's too small. With RV, camper, etc., the child and I, again, will have privacy, quiet, her bedtime, etc. I stay up reading or working on things. He goes early, and if I make a peep, he's upset. Yes, health-wise, safety-wise, we're fine. But in our world, it's not what we need. So if the shed is fine,
perfect,
and she has everything she needs.
Now, I recall another post that LIEnette stated as she was begging for money to finish this shed, the other bigger shed.
The barn dough.
Yeah. And stating, would you want to live this way? This is not the way to live. You wouldn't live this way. So here we have the contradicting statements yet again. It's perfect. It's great. Children's Services has no problem with it. I need money. It's horrible. It's the worst thing ever.
Yes.
The new camper has less space than the shed. Now, Crook is in the shed. LIEnette and the child are in the camper. And no, we don't know that from filming for our own protection and accountability and safety. We know from LIEnette posting. She tells us everything.
Someone asked her, is Child Protective Services okay with it? And she goes, yes, yes. Otherwise, she would be like, well, Child Protective Services isn't a part of this, right? She didn't deny that Child Protective Services wasn't a part of the shed being fine.
Case plan. They absolutely have a case plan where they're saying you have to do this and this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. So the federal judge says, listen, this property isn't even worth the amount of money to even take it to trial for the dispute. We'll just seize it and we'll sell it if the creditor wants it, which we are the creditor that is on the call. Which I said, yes, I will write a check for $8,000. Crook will get that check for $8,000. I will own all of the property then because they already owe it to me. And then Crook will have to give that back in future lawsuits. And not even future lawsuits, they're present, but they will be unstayed. They'll be unstayed. But the federal judge says, okay, we're going to have a continuance January 6th. We're going to figure out where everybody's at. And, if we have to go to trial, we're all going to trial in person in Tallahassee. She goes, I'm going to be out of the country. I'm going to be out of town. So she said country, caught herself, and then said town. So she's going to be somewhere out of the country. On January 6th, she says, but I will be there on Zoom, 11 a.m.
Interesting. So she's willing to do this while she's on vacation.
Pretty interesting. I mean,
so she's not delaying the way DEUCE likes to delay.
They don't want any delays. The federal government wants this done. Done. Sold, gone, done. And the money in the trustee's pocket, the money in the creditor's pocket, and them on their way. Now, the only reason we would want the property whatsoever is not because we want the property. It is a filthy, useless piece of property. It's not to say that we couldn't make it into something.
Sure.
All we want is our safety back. We want our peace back. And I'm willing to pay any amount to make that happen. And I will spend every last penny I've ever made and that I will continue to make to keep the entire What the Hales ecosystem members accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
Remember when LIEnette made a public post on Facebook telling you to give Crook $56,000 to get him
$65,000.
$65,000?
Yeah, $65,000
for him to get off the property.
Now look, we're getting it for $8. This is a bargain of a deal.
8 is great.